We've got a lot to cover today. Bitfarms had a big announcement yesterday. Riot is also on the move for Bitfarms. We're seeing some pretty excellent price action out of Bitfarms lately due to that. We're going to talk a lot about that right now. We're also going to go over a similar situation that happened several years ago, back in 2007, that we're going to talk about a little bit. We're also going to revisit a couple of tickers we haven't talked about in a little while. Some of them are quite exciting. So before we get into anything, go ahead and take a look at the Trade Cave store available on Etsy right now. We've got a couple of t-shirts here. We've got our Trade Cave logo sticker there. You can see right here. Go on to Etsy, search Trade Cave. You'll find it there. Link is also in the description, as well as on our channel page. So let's get into this. So first of all, Bitfarms had a big announcement. They have entered an agreement to develop a 120 megawatt facility in Pennsylvania. And this will take their operations to over 35 exahash. That's going to get them to where higher than where Marathon Digital currently is. So that's one of the reasons we are running today. The other reason is that Riot is still buying shares. As of yesterday, Riot owned 14% of the company. Now remember, they're going to enact their poison pill at 15%. So 1% more in Bitfarms enacts the poison pill. And that, so far, all this buying pressure and good news has sent Bitfarms up. It's up 1.4% today, but in the last 2 days, it's moved up about 17, almost 18% in total. That was the total move. Its current price, it's up about 13, 14% in the last 2 days. That is excellent. We went and knocked on the door of $3. That really makes that $2.30 look extra insulting. I can't believe they just offered such a lowball offer and didn't even try to come back with anything more reasonable. That was just kind of disgusting, a bit of a slap in the face. It kind of showed that Riot really is not valuing this company properly. And honestly, I wouldn't want to do business with them if I were another company. I wouldn't want to sell to them either, because that was just super rude of them. Anyways, a lot of this pressure is buying from Riot. Now, if they enact the poison pill, there's some interesting things that could happen. Now, this is the Volkswagen chart. This is a monthly chart. Now, if you remember, in 2006, like mid to late 2006, Porsche started secretly buying Volkswagen shares. And then in March 2007, this one that went up 19%, that's where they publicly disclosed that they actually owned 25% of the company with an option to purchase up to 30% of the company of Volkswagen. Volkswagen successfully defended themselves from Porsche, from this hostile takeover. I can't find any specific references to them using a poison pill, but when I go into Gemini and ask for them to do a play-by-play, they do mention that in 2007, was it? No. Where's it at? That in April 2007, they enacted a poison pill against against Porsche. I couldn't find any specific news articles talking about it. This is just what happened. This is just what I got when I'm looking in Gemini for, a play-by-play of this scenario. And they're saying that in April 2007, they actually enacted a poison pill, which would have been right here. Let me draw a box around that area. Would have been right somewhere in here, somewhere in there, right? Where these 3 flat months. So let me draw it actually. I'll draw a line. There we go. It was somewhere in here, according to Gemini. And you can see, so anyways, from the time that they had been accumulating, so they started accumulating somewhere in like mid 2006, so maybe like July, we'll go September, we'll start September 2006, we'll say they started accumulating, Porsche started accumulating. And then, so September 2006, up until the poison pill was enacted, that caused the stock to go up 100%. Afterwards, it would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, they were then up an additional up to 265%. So it went up from being 100% to an additional 160% in the following 6 months after that was enacted. Of course, they had a little dip then, but they eventually, from that time when Porsche started accumulating shares in like mid to late 2006, They went from a price of $8 and eventually squeezed up to a price of over $100. Now I know it went even higher than that because at one point, for a few moments, they were the most expensive company in the world for a short period due to that squeeze. But that was from about $8. We'll try to get it out there. That was a just on the graph here, the monthly chart, that was a 1,354% move from September 2007 until October 2008. So a 1 year holding period, you could have made 13 times your money while that was happening. Is this going to happen with Bitfarms? Now, I don't necessarily think so. I don't think they're as high profile as those companies were at that time and still aren't probably as high profile or as big. Actually, I can check. Yeah, 57 billion euros versus $1 billion, and Riot's only like 4 or 3 or 4. But yeah, significantly larger companies. Anyways, do I think that it will squeeze that much? Like get you a 13 times return starting from, you know, back when Riot started taking them, which was a few days ago, like May, let's say it was right here around the $2 range. Let's see what 1300%. I need more space on my chart. 1300, still need more space on my chart. 1300% jump would take us up to about $23 if that happened. Um, that's crazy. That'd be more than double the highest price Bitfarms has ever achieved. Now it's possible, yeah, it's possible they could do that. I don't necessarily think it's going to. I think our, the upper echelons of this move are probably, let me turn on this indicator here. Probably, no, not there. Let's go to the weekly. Yeah, the upper echelons of this move are probably like the $6, $7 range. Once things like really take off and get crazy. That's just Fibonacci clouds. That's another custom indicator I did. So that is what is going on between Bitfarms and Riot right now. The saga continues. Let's take a look at how Riot is doing today. They're down 2% today. Don't love that. They are outside of this descending channel though, so they do have room to move up to the 200-day moving average at $11.68. I really want to see them take that over and defeat that line right there at that 200-day moving average line. I really want to see them take over that line. I don't know how this news with Bitfarms is going to affect their company specifically. Like if Bitfarms makes them look bad, well then maybe they won't do so hot. We'll see. It's hard to say, but Bitfarms is doing amazingly while Riot's not doing so hot. Let's also look at Bitcoin. We haven't looked at Bitcoin since yesterday. So let's take a look. What's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin, it looks like it wants to come back. It tapped the 50-day moving average and wants to hang out here. It is kind of flagging a little bit here, which if it does break underneath the 50-day moving average at 65,970 right now, that we would be looking at a move back down to the low 60s, like very low 60s, maybe even $60,000 again, if that were to happen. I really don't want to see that happen, but if we break the 50, we could come down to 60, maybe even a little bit lower back down here, the previous cycle low, which was at 56,400, which would take us right to the 200-day moving average. That could happen if we break the 50-day. Do I really think that's going to happen? I don't know. I think it'd probably be more like a flash down followed by a surge up, given where we are in the current cycle of things. So I'm not thinking that's really going to happen. But if we do break beneath the 50 and we hold under there for like 1 or 2 days, like solidly hold under it for 1 or 2 days after it moves beneath it, then I'd be looking for the 200-day moving average to come in. Right now, I want to see it come back up to the 20-day moving average at 68,730, and I want to see it conquer that, and that would give us room up to 70 and 72,000 again. We conquer $72,000, yeah, we're going to new all-time highs. It doesn't look like that's what we want to do in the next few days, but of course, remember, Bitcoin can move right back here. It can move 7-8% in a day easily. I mean, it could even go higher than that in a day, but like that's just recently the big blue candles have been like 7-8% just in the last couple of months. And if we were to do that right now, 7.64% takes us right back to $72,000. So if we got a big blue boy like that come right through, yeah, that we would be right back to all-time highs again very, very quickly. So let's take a look at some other miners. How is CleanSpark doing today? CleanSpark is holding over $18. Love to see it. It's up 1.53%. That's really great. I love that. That's fantastic. Really looking good right now with that move. I really want to see it flag here and hold just above $18, flag sideways for a couple of days, and then push up hard to this 2138 level, and then just slice right through. I want to see a big candle just go. I want to see it do exactly what it did back here. Actually, this is exactly what I want to see on CleanSpark. Let me turn off this indicator so you can see it nicely. Right in here. Let me draw a circle around that thing. Right there. I want to see that kind of price action, right? It comes up right up to that green line, pauses, comes down today, gives me a hammer candle, and then the next candle just goes right above it. That's the kind of thing I want to see. I want to see it push right above it aggressively. That's the sort of thing I want to see right now. So I want to see it flag, go up just beneath this green line, flag for like 2 days, and then just slice right through it like it's nothing. That's what I want to see on CleanSpark. It looks like 15 is going to end up being the bottom here. And I mean, if you've been accumulating at $15, I think you're going to be very happy with yourself here. That's going to be an excellent point, I think. Let's see what Marathon Digital is doing. Marathon Digital is flat on the day. Nothing going on. They probably are just, I mean, they need a news catalyst, something to come through, be like Marathon's like increased efficiency or something. Something's got to come through on them, or they made an acquisition. Something's got to happen with Marathon there to see it move out of this descending channel right now that it's in, which I'm not too upset about because this does look a little bit like a cup and handle here. You can come right here. We have our cup followed by our handle, and the longer this handle drags on, the bigger this up move is going to be. And I think once we're done with this handle, we're very easily going to be trading in the mid to high 30s again, very easily on Marathon when this happens. And I'm hoping that happens in like the next 2-3 months. That would be great. If it happens like in the next 60 days, that'd be really good for me in my calls. So that's what I'm hoping happens there. Let's see what Cipher warrants are doing. I got out of this a little too early. I explained my reasoning. Geez, if I could type, that would be great. I explained my reasonings for that yesterday. I was a bit overweight on a lot of things. And that one was in profit, not a lot of profit, but it was in profit. And it was one of the ones on my list of things to cut when I felt like I was overweight. Now, I did it one day too early, kicking myself. I know. I sold it like $1.03, and then the very next day it went up to $1.50. That is ridiculous. It's okay though. It's already coming back down. Honestly, if it gets back into this channel, like down here to like 105, I'd buy this thing. I'd be a buyer at $1.05 on this thing. So this descending wedge that I identified did play out, and I should have held onto it a little longer and let it play out, but I didn't. That's okay. So yeah, 105, I'd be a buyer of this thing again. Of course, none of this is financial advice or a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. It's just what I'm thinking when I look at these charts and how I'm planning to play these things. All right. Oh, another one. So this one is, okay, first of all, this thing is insanely volatile, very, very risky. Anything I've put into this, I fully expect to lose. It's either going to the moon or to zero. This is Crypto Blocks Technology, CRYBF. I bought a few thousand shares of this thing the other day. And in fact, if you got in now, you'd get in at 20% less than where I got in. So I'm thinking 20% down. Am I 20% down today? Is my math mathing? Let me see here. I am currently on that one about 10% down. All right. So I got in a little over 13 cents. It's a little under 13 cents right now. About 10% down from where I got in. But this thing is crazy. One, look at this thing. So in March, during that big run up, it went up to 54 cents from a bottom in December 2023 from 1.3 cents to 50. That's a 50x return in 3 months. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm willing to lose $300 to do a 50x return. And also, the highest it went back in the last bull run, look at this thing. In the last bull run, this thing ran up to $10. Now, do I think that'll do that again? No, I have mine set to sell at different stages. I have my break, I have it set to sell at 42 cents to recover everything that I've put in. So $300 basically, to recover $300 at 42 cents of the shares that I have. And then at like $1 right here, $1 and like 37 cents, I have it set to sell another 1,000 shares. So then I make 1,300 bucks. And then I have my final 1,000 shares set to sell at about the peak here at about like 750, which would be a total of like $10,000 gain for a $300 gamble or a $300 loss. And that's what I'm looking at here. Now this is crazy, crazy speculative. I would not recommend that anyone buy this thing. If you buy this thing, you better expect it to go to zero. This thing is absolutely 100% a gamble, and it is dangerous, and anything you put into it is probably going to go to zero. Look at this. It's already lost another penny. Now I'm down 20%. That's for sure. So that's what I did with that. I saw that it came across this, and I said, you know what? This thing does some really ridiculous pumps sometimes. And I would be willing to lose a little bit of money on the anticipation that during a July potential summer run-up, we might come and revisit, the low 40-cent range this summer. And then maybe this Christmas, we could revisit like the $1 range, perhaps. And then during the big mega bull run, we might revisit $5, $6, $7 on this thing. That's very possible. Now, it could also go bankrupt uh, and disappear from the charts here and you lose everything. But that is a risk I thought I was willing to take. Now, of course, you must do your own research, must come to your own conclusions and decide whether or not, this complete gamble is worth bothering with or not. But I decided, you know what? Why not? That was my thought. What else is going on today? We got GME is expected to potentially buy some Bitcoin. So that was interesting. I'm actually in GME right now. I think I was up here this morning. Now that it came back to this white line, I should be back at about break even now. So that's a little upsetting. That's okay though. I really want to see it come up to this orange line again. Maybe even this purple would be okay. That would give me a pretty significant increase in the value here of what I've got. I've got a couple of call options for a few weeks out. This thing is coming down. Came down back to break even. I don't know what to make of this right now, actually. I'm going to have to analyze this later. But they are talking about potentially buying some Bitcoin with their $3 billion that they have on the sidelines. And if they were to do that, this would end up becoming a Bitcoin play. And I think that that would set in motion a third surge, maybe not as high as these previous couple. Like so far we've had two, like they've been decreasing in size, but I do want to see it come up and tap this line up here, which would be in this little green cloud up here. About at the $42 range. I do want to see it come and tap that one more time in the next couple of weeks here. That's my thought process. I'm willing to hold for a few days, maybe lose a little bit of money on this as well while I do it. Again, this one is also a super big gamble, so like I'm not super invested in it and I didn't put much into it. Anyways, that's just something going on with GameStop. Adobe though, ooh, Adobe got interesting today. So they came back with good earnings. They beat earnings by 2% on the earnings per share and 0.3% on revenue. And that sent them up 15%. Now they're up 14%. It went right up to my green line here. Man, the calls that I bought on this orange line would have been worth so much more than they were when I sold them. But that's okay. That's okay. I was not in a great spot there for it, and I did not want to hold it. And I took my profit, and that was fine. Anyways, look where it came to. It came right to the center of this dashed line here, which is the center of this big overall downtrend, right? Okay, and it's stopping right on my green line here. So what I want to see is for this thing to come back down. I want to see this come back to the 5-day. I want to see the 5-day moving average catch up to this thing. I want to see how it interacts with it. Once I see how it interacts with the 5-day moving average, I will decide whether or not it's going to continue to go up and come back up to the 200-day moving average at $544, or if it's going to continue back down to these lows again. So that's what I'm doing now. I know I'm always saying waiting, but patience is the most important part of this entire process. So that's what's going on there. One more thing, Tesla. Tesla is Elon got his pay package approved. Tesla's like all over the place. Look at this thing on the daily chart. It's flat, 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 flat. Elon gets his money and then immediately it sells back down. I don't like that. This is not good price action actually right now. I'm not interested in watching this. I really need to see price hold up above honestly 185 to feel confident that it's going to go to 200. I think it's going to come probably back down to like 173, maybe even 170 before going up back up to 200 on this thing again right now. What else? That's all. No, honestly, that's it. That's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, and subscribe, share this video, and have a profitable day.